Welcome to Pain with a Purpose, the podcast where we dive deep into the stories of resilience, redemption, and purpose. I'm your host, Chris Woods, and each week we will sit down with guests who have faced challenges with substance abuse, mental health, and recovery. But we're not just dwelling on the past. Instead, we'll explore what keeps them driven towards a purposeful life. Join us as we navigate the journey from pain to a purpose. Welcome back to Pain with a Purpose, Season 1, Episode 5, I believe. 5? I can't keep up. It's either 5 or 6, but I guarantee you I will clarify at the bottom here. Today we have a special guest, Vince Douglas, all the way from
Elkton, Maryland.
Elkton, Maryland.
Yeah.
Not close. We are currently in Montgomery County, so I do appreciate you making the trip.
Absolutely. Happy to make it.
Before I get started, because I'll always forget, right? I'll say it again in the middle too, but like, comment, share, Pain with a Purpose podcast on Apple and Spotify, Instagram, Pain W Purpose, and on YouTube, Pain with a Purpose podcast. We definitely appreciate the support. It keeps us going. So with that, we'll jump right into it.
Yeah, man.
Why in the world would I reach out to Vince Douglas?
Probably because we're very similar in our past and in our present. You know? And there's obviously a big bridge between those things of what took place for us to get to where we are. You know, obviously, you know what it was like. I've talked to you a few times, and you definitely, you know certain type of guys and individuals who have been through some things, you know, and understand what it takes to get on the other side. Yeah. And that's, for me, I can pick up on that, and I'm sure you can too, because it's like, it's real. Yeah. It's not fake. Yeah, I can smell fake because I was fake. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Well, I saw pictures of you. You didn't look how you look today.
Yeah. $160. And for reference, like I'm 6 foot 265. Yeah. You know, I'm a big guy, but dropped down and just, you know, my diet consisted of like Mountain Dew and whatever I could steal from Wawa.
Candy.
Skittles.
Always candy.
Skittles, Starburst.
Sour strips.
Whatever. Mm-hmm. Whatever the old Snaggletooth was craving for, bro.
Dude, so not to get sidetracked, but do you still, I still crave stuff like that?
Absolutely. I have a different craving today. It's kind of monitored a little more. Yeah. But they got them Reese's dipped animal cookies. Or they're fire.
That must be an Elkton, Maryland thing.
That's an Elkton, Maryland.
Because I'm a fast break guy.
A
big Reese's fast break guy.
They're good. But have you had the Reese's animal crackers?
No.
Give them a shot. Hit them with like a muscle milk so you feel a little more. Okay. I don't feel as guilty because I'm like, yo, I'm getting 40 grams protein of protein. In here. Yeah, sure. Dude. I'm not tracking that. I'm tracking how much protein.
Where do you guys have Wawas in there?
Well, yeah, we got Wawas.
I don't know.
We got Rofos. Royal Farms.
Oh, okay. Fried chicken. Great chicken. I know that.
Yep. Yeah, my son loves the Wawa mac and cheese, though. That's his jam.
That's probably the only good thing they got left over there.
I don't know. I've always, you know, people talk about the...
They're known for their pizza.
People argue, like real debates of like Sheetz.
It's Sheetz all day.
It's all freaking gas station food, bro.
It is what it is, but like so I base it off of the actual touchscreen.
Okay, the
service.
You know
what I mean? Yeah. So like Royal Farms near me in Norristown can't really get much service. Mm-hmm. Wawa's played out. Sheetz, I can get hash brown or like I can get something like that on my like grilled cheese. I'm in.
Yeah, we just got a Sheetz. Sheetz, I know, is historically like a PA thing. Mm-hmm. They just opened up one. I hate to say, like, I haven't tried the food there. You know, I'll go down the road for the Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, well, yeah, of course.
You know, so it's surrounded by like the Sheetz is surrounded by like Chipotle, Five Guys, and Chick-fil-A.
Oh,
they're taking an L.
Yeah,
I mean, they're selling gas.
Yeah,
they opened up with like a lower gas rate per gallon than everyone else, and it brought people there.
Listen, so join us whenever you're free. We're going to start a whole different podcast on just junk food because I feel like that would definitely go viral.
We're definitely rolling down a hill here.
You know? So tell me a little bit about, right, because I just know the Vince from like our workplace, right? I know the Vince that has kind of like climbed
for lack of better terms, like the corporate ladder, right? So like that's the Vince I know. I don't know what brought you to really like your purpose, right?
Yeah, absolutely, man. So I can tell you straight from the jump, man. The whole, from 15, I'm 35, so my upcoming was like Oxycontin, 14, 15 years old, and like the innocence of it all. Like, I ain't gonna smoke crack, shoot heroin, do all these other things, but we hit grandma's cabinet and a doctor's prescribing. It's not made on the street. It's not being given on the street. Can't hurt me, doctor. You know, that's the conception I had. Obviously, kids these days have a little better conception, hopefully. It started off as just fun, obviously, and, it progressed to where, now I'm 16, fully addicted, drop out of high school, just didn't care. And, I loved football. I loved baseball. I loved basketball. I still do. As a matter of fact, I'm a youth coach today.
I've seen that. Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Like, I do all that. I love it.
For your son or in general?
So I do it for my son too, but I got to have a lot of grace with him. He's 2. So it's 2-year-old wiffle ball, t-ball.
They asked me. I was like, call me in 10 years.
I coach high school kids right now.
Oh, good for you, dude.
So there's a big difference, and I have to check myself a lot of the times with him because he's 2. My son, like last Wednesday, laid out. I'm done. And I'm like, yo, dude, you got to get up and play, bro.
Yeah.
Look at your team over there.
So I have daughters, right? But like we did the whole T-ball thing. They wanted me to coach, right? Call whatever you want. It's really just watch them, make sure they hit first base, whatever. My daughters are like playing in the grass, the whole 9. And like I pride myself on like my distorted perception on like how good of an athlete I am.
Oh, yeah.
So I was like, listen, dads, I'm out. I can't do this right now. Like I'll just watch from over here and you'll hear me screaming their names. But I was going to say, you probably have to check yourself with the high school kids too.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Not as much.
Yeah.
They want to be there.
Sure.
They want to be the best they can be. Like, they'll listen. Obviously, they're going to mess around like a group of 15-year-old, 17-year-old kids do.
Yeah.
Right? But, like, I've also, like, this group that I coach currently, I've had them since they were 7. A lot of these kids I've coached since they were 7. And, like, back onto what we were talking about. All I know on how to communicate is what I learned via, like, recovery.
Yeah.
So I'm 12-stepping kids who are upset about dropping a ball.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And they're crying and they're on the sideline and it's, it's 3rd down. It's 3rd and 3, bro. We still got a chance. And you lose sight of that because all you can focus on is what had happened and you're missing out on the present, So that's, all that information, I couldn't have had without the 12 steps, a process of recovery. Because like mine, I'm, at the time I'm 27 before I got sober and I'm the same way as this 7-year-old kid.
Yep.
I'm thinking about the girl that left me 3 years ago still.
Yep.
Resentful.
The whole 9.
Feared up. I can't trust nobody now, Yeah, so basically you lose sight of everything you love and like your true self. And like you got to sacrifice a lot to live that lifestyle, whether people realize it or not. Like there is a moral sacrifice taking place. Whether you're cognitively aware of it, doesn't matter because it's taking place. Because this head is spinning and I'm so blocked off because this is where the sacrifice happens.
Right.
I'm not like instinctually.
So what about all the people that are like, well, if you just wanted to stop, you would, right? This isn't a disease, if you want to just stop, like, especially because like the way that I was raised as a man and nobody really told me this, right? But it's like, if you didn't want to do something, you just don't do it.
Yeah.
Right. Or if you wanted a better job, you go out and you work harder and you go and get one.
Yeah.
Right. Turns out and I didn't know this at the time, but like turns out in every aspect of my life, I have that. But when it comes to drinking and drugging, dude, like.
Well, it centers where?
Exactly. Centers in my mind. But
main
it's
problem for me.
So like, I don't know how disciplined you are on Facebook, but early on, dude, I used to get into it with people, right? Where they're
arguing?
Like, yeah.
I think I have probably earlier on, but now it's like, I'm not going to waste that. I'll let I was listening to your podcast the other day or recently, and you actually talked about let my principles and demonstrations. Yeah. You said that. I'm like, yeah, I'll just do that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, because my arguing and my almost coming off like a pastor or
Mm-hmm.
something, you know, lack of better words,
Yeah.
evangelist,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to destroy eventually. Maybe that's someone who's under the,
Right.
like I put it down after, you know, before work,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Yeah.
and they're stuck. So I don't pay no mind, whatever.
Yeah. It was up until I had like 4 or 5 years sober where I was just like, somebody like even made a comment about like, you know, because right now we're not far from Kensington, right? So, you know, like you can call me a junkie. I got no problem with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But when I see it on Facebook,
Yeah.
I'm like, hold on now. Like, you're going to tell me that those people down there like made a cognitive decision of like, you know what, I'm going to burn my life to the ground. Like, they don't have whatever the scenario is, right? So like that's whatever, my own tangent, my own little sidetrack. But yeah, I used to love getting in fights on Facebook.
Yeah, nah, I never was really, you know, I didn't get like into social media until I got sober. And like, I was just, I knew, I just like, I would like wake up. I'm talking about halfway house, walking to work in freaking November, the winter, for a job that pays me $10 an hour. And I'm about to hump drywall all day.
The good old days.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I got curfew. I got to make it back too.
Yeah. Working on 90 days, you know what I mean? Just working up my way to like having one overnight.
But that's it. You haven't forgot about that.
No.
You know, that's so crucial.
I mean, think about it, right? And like, this is like a lot of the reason behind the podcast, right? Is because, you know, if I think about my life, it's very full, right?
Yeah.
And like, I've absolutely prayed for the life that I have today, but I absolutely, if I'm being transparent, I can be very ungrateful any given day.
Absolutely.
Even before we were talking, right? Like, my whole tone was probably negative, not great, right?
Nah, you were fine.
Well, that's just like the way that I perceive everything, right? Or at least how I was being. But regardless, like back then, like those were the good old days, right? Like those were so simple, dude.
Yeah. We got luxury problems today.
Now, if you fast forward it to like the people that you work with today, right?
Yeah.
I almost feel like everything's kind of being handed to them, right?
Yeah.
Don't worry about what, I mean, if you got a job, don't worry about it. Like, we'll take you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like those type of situations are like, if you're getting a job, or we'll help you get a job. And if you do, we'll Uber you.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like there was like a certain amount of, I was broken that like I needed to like really kickstart my recovery. And I'm very grateful for the experience that I had. And I'm very grateful that I got sober when I did, right? Because I don't know if my story would be the same if something was handed to me all the time.
I think all of it created a certain degree of willingness.
Yeah.
You know, that's, if I could like put a stamp of like one of the top, obviously we all know there's 3, but one of the principles just for life, willingness.
Yeah.
I'm willing to fail.
Yeah.
As scary as failure is to me, my willingness creates courage, which then creates faith as I move forward.
Absolutely.
You know?
And that's like the whole bias. I also, for the viewers at home, I do know that I say like a ton. I know that. It's my biggest pet peeve about myself. But
that's a PA thing.
Like?
Like.
Dude, I hate it.
Like.
I say like, I'm like looking at these videos trying to edit stuff, and I'm like, you sound so uneducated, dude.
Nah. It's just you're real.
Well, I do appreciate it, but at the end of the day, I will improve. I promise.
Whatever you want to change, you will.
Yeah.
The pain.
So this is what so you talked about it. And I was like, so, hey, what were we thinking about, like maybe talking about, right? And you said, well, what does pain look like to you today?
Yeah.
And then you also talked about willingness a good bit. I'm willing to go through a good amount of pain, stone cold sober, before I actually am willing to get back into the work or get back into like doing something or get back into whatever it looks like for me.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Do you think you're comfortable with pain still?
I think I thrive in it.
Yeah.
As sick as that sounds.
Yeah. So you would say, you're probably a little comfortable with it. You like, so sometimes like I know like, sometimes I like the excitement of pain because I know what's about to happen too. Whether I realize it or not, there's something about a piece of brokenness that I still enjoy. Like because I know when I'm in that position, it brings me closer to something greater than myself. Because that is the only thing that will. I never signed up for a relationship with God.
No, that's not what I came in here looking for.
I wanted the obsession and compulsion to be removed.
Yep.
Obviously it got me there, but like, I gotta be in a certain immense amount of pain, right? In whatever subject, you name it, it's gonna bring me inevitably closer to trusting and a loving higher power that's gonna nurture that brokenness back. I kind of enjoy it.
It's pretty wild if you think about it. That how long have you been sober?
Coming up on 9 years.
So coming up on 9 years, right? 9 years ago, you would have never thought that you'd be sitting on a Tuesday night, right? Like talking a good part on a podcast just about God.
Yeah.
And when I went into a treatment center, like I was not thinking that I needed God. Yeah. I was thinking that I just needed to stop putting this stuff in my body.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. That's the solution.
And they want to talk about, or they do talk about, I talk about like a life beyond my wildest dreams. Mm-hmm. I never would have dreamed this for myself. Talking about God.
I was trying to get off probation.
Mm-hmm. So thank God I never got jammed up with the law, but I just wanted
could have been different.
It definitely could have been. Oh, I mean, I should have.
Yeah.
Absolutely should have. Yeah. My mom watched the first podcast and she called me right after.
Yeah.
She was like, "You got my car stolen?" And I'm like, "Yeah, Mom, it was a whole thing." Yeah. Yes. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff that I could have done that got something absolutely. Was looking up
absolutely
after me. So I know we keep getting on tangents. So you got into the oxys.
Yeah, got into the oxys, and it was off kind of inevitably to the races, kind of how I'm wired. Taking a look back today, sober Vince, like, and understanding like family history, it's been there throughout my whole family. Just no one told me. Would things be different? Probably not. I'm stubborn.
Yeah.
I'm willing to endure some pain and, have consequences as a direct result. I'll blame someone else at least. Yeah. Oxycontin, dropped out. And, inevitably like my degree of going to whatever lengths I had to go to get the next one caused a lot of harm to my family. Where like I turned 18, my mom said, "You gotta get out." And I'm like, I'm so selfish that I ignore the reality of the situation that's causing a loving and caring mom to put her only son out of the house. And I'm in my moment, I'm like, yo, what kind of mom are you? You say you love me, but you're putting your only son out of the house with nothing. And she's got tears in her eyes, and I'm blaming her.
Imagine how painful that was for her.
It had to happen. Like, obviously, I had to go through everything I had to go through to get to this point.
Yeah.
I firmly believe that, not a doubt in my mind. God was protecting me throughout all of that, but I had to hit those bottoms on my own until I realized, like, I can't do it on my own. Fast forward, like, we have these little things we do in order to get the next one. So currently I'm homeless, and I got a raging Oxycontin addiction at 18 years old. So like I just start breaking into houses.
Oh, damn, you went that route.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, it's big. That's big probation.
Well, listen, I also grew up. You're from PA. You're from Philly. You're from this area. You remember, what was it? It was a state property with Kevin Hart and Beanie Siegel. They were B&E Kings. I forget the name of the movie. I'd have to Google it later. Somebody in the chat. Somebody knows it. It's like, yo, I've never heard someone talk about it.
Hopefully we're getting enough traction that somebody's going to comment on this and know the movie.
Someone who is, someone knows it. But it was Kevin Hart, Beanie Siegel, Jay-Z, like, that was their thing. So I, like, leaned back into all these gangster movies that I watched and kind of, I was like, yo, they got away with it. I'm way smarter than that. I just started doing it. And again, like, I was willing to do whatever I had to do to get the next one. And that's what it looked like for me. Every day I'd, walk around, or, I had a girlfriend at the time, and, she started using with me. It was a bad situation. God bless her. Hope she's doing well today. Drive me here. And inevitably what happens is you get caught, and I got caught red-handed, high as a kite. The guy's there with the cops, and I'm like...
Oh, the homeowner.
Yeah, I'm like, do I jump out of this window? I was like, that'll ruin my high.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know. I just...
Yeah, you got jammed
Gigs up.
Yeah.
Gigs up. And,
at this point, so you were still 18?
Yeah.
So at this point, how long had it been since you talked to like your family?
I think my mom would text, but like me actually communicating, months.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I knew they loved me. I think I knew that. But like when you're in that, I know what they're going to say.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we love you. Why don't you get help?
Right.
I'm here to help you.
And again, why I got in all those fights, right? Is, you know, I'm sure that like you were raised with morals and values, right? You know what's right and wrong, just like I did growing up. Somewhere along the line, right? I was absolutely so much in the thick of it that like, I didn't know my way out. I thought I was just physically addicted to this stuff.
Yeah.
Until I finally went to treatment once, and it ain't that simple. Just don't put it in your body. Like
I don't even think I was addicted. I just thought it was normal. They talk about that, right? Like the alcoholic life becomes a normal one. And that's really what I like. Everybody I surrounded myself with lived the same way. So anything outside of that bubble that I didn't involve myself in, you know,
this is Baltimore or this is Elkton?
So I have a running history of Wilmington. I've been out Philly a little bit. Been down Baltimore a little bit. Been in the backwoods with pagans, like the whole nine. Like you name it. Been around them. You know, I went wherever it was.
Wherever you had to go.
If it was closer, all right. You know, didn't matter to me like what I had to do to get it or where I had to go.
Yeah.
I'll go.
So fast forward to, how many, did you go to treatment once? Or
went to treatment twice. So I get out of jail and nothing changes if nothing changes. Like I'm in there like trying to get high like everybody else. Like dudes getting dosed and I'm like, I know that'll get me right. Cut off a piece of this motherfucking, excuse my language, piece of this towel, put it in your cheek. And like, that's insane. Mind you, I'm doing this completely sober. And like, I should have realized I had a deeper problem at that time because I'm like months sober at the time, you know, in jail. But we know that today, like that's absence isn't recovery.
So, and the only reason that I keep going back to this, right, is because we're definitely on a trend, right? Where you were sober, right? You were sober in jail.
Yep.
Why in the world would you make a conscious decision to do that? Was it conscious? Probably not.
Nah. It is programmed into me, whether I like it or not. It is my default setting. You know, I'm sure I had a good one at one point, but you lose it. Hence why we need a program to reprogram the program that is already there. Also,
why we need a program at I have 9 years as well. Right? Yeah. So I still need a program at 9 years.
Yeah.
You know, because if not, AA, NACA, whatever it is, whatever A you go to, wouldn't be around.
Yeah.
You would go to jail and then you would come out and everything would be okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. You know, pioneers knew what was actually taking place within the mind, the body, and the spirit of an alcoholic and an addict. And I'm forever grateful why I still show up.
Yeah.
I'm not always at a meeting for me.
No.
It's, that's a new guy. I'm going to go shake my hand, make sure he's got my number.
Yep.
You're looking for a sponsor. If I'm booked up, that's a good guy right here.
Absolutely.
You know, because guys did it for me. First and foremost, I'm just, and I'm not doing anything special than passing on what was done to me. That's it. That's how we survive. You know, these A's have survived.
Absolutely. And that's what I was taught.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, and this is my opinion, some would agree, some might not. There's a lot of bad program out there. I'm really grateful for the amount of like good sponsorship family, and good program that I was brought up around because I was told, and it's also why I never stayed sober up until this point, is that, you know, you're going to do this, right? And you're going to absolutely extend your hand. You're going to be there for, you know, your commitment. You're going to get there early. But more importantly, it kind of like goes into what I do, whether it's work or not work.
Yeah.
Right. Whether it's about somebody struggling with, you know, substance abuse or not.
Yeah.
Right? How can I pack into the stream of life instead of like
take?
All I ever did was take.
Yeah.
Usually it was my mom's debit card. I'm sorry. Still paying you off. Love you, Mom. But yeah, what can I pack into the stream of life? So yeah, sorry to cut you off.
Nah. It's all good stuff.
All right, so you went to treatment the second time.
So I get out of jail. I am like, I can drink. I won't do Oxy yet. I drink, do a little Coke. And again, I'm thinking like that's 10 steps better than what I was. And like, kinda.
Were you able to come home after the first treatment?
No.
Okay.
No. So I violate probation. They say I should go to treatment, but I'm still violated. That would look good. Go to treatment, compare out, man. Like I'm better than y'all. You got a trash bag full of clothes and missing teeth. I still got mine. You're losing your hair. I still got mine. You know, just comparison across the board. It's like sick, just completely sick. They're like, yo, you got to go to a halfway house. I'm like, no, I don't. My mom will let me come home. Yep. So my mom ain't let me live there since I was like 17, 18 years old. You know, I'm like 21 at this point. And I go to this halfway house. I get high immediately. I knew what I was going to do. Yeah. I got my phone back then, changed no numbers, nothing. They suggested it and unwilling to take suggestions. And honestly, I knew what I was going to do. I didn't want to do this. I wasn't ready. Didn't want to do it. Didn't believe in any of it. And I get there, get high immediately, get high the next day, and like somehow was hiding it. It was like I came in on a Friday. So sometimes at a halfway house, it's a little less.
So it's a little bit more lenient on the weekend.
Yeah, people are out doing it as they should, honestly.
They're in recovery. They're trying to get better. They're building their lives again.
Families,
maybe they got a girlfriend now.
Yep. Kids. You know, like, I support that. And then I'm going to get caught. If I get kicked out for using, my mom won't let me come back. But if I get kicked out for something else,
I might have a chance.
I literally cause a fight with a guy. Get kicked out for fighting, like intentionally. Like,
talk about manipulating the whole situation. Yep.
Selfish and self-centered.
Because we're smart. We're smart.
That's how smart we are. You know, I will plan out and you know, I will act it out to a T to get my way. Yep. You know, get kicked out, go home, and within a matter of a week, I'm breaking into houses again. Right back. Same old stuff.
Out on probation.
On probation, yeah.
Just got out.
I'd been out for like 3 months.
Yeah.
I'm breaking into houses all over. I got a hotter running girl. So I'm like, yeah.
Can't tell me nothing.
You can't tell. Dude, I'm living. She's got a sugar daddy. I'm eating off the sugar daddy.
That's called residual income.
Loved it, you know? You know, and then I get caught up with her. I guess that a guy saw the car. What long story? I don't even want to jump into that. Yeah, this time it's in Delaware. All right. So I'm from Maryland, but I live like where I live, Elkton. My backyard is like University of Delaware. And then I'm also 10 minutes to like PA. I'm all, you know, I can get to Philly in 35 minutes. I can get to Baltimore in 45 minutes. I'm in the central hub of everything. Kind of, that's always been our perspective. So I get caught up in Delaware. This time my family's like, yo, you're done. You're done. Like, we know it. We're actually going to bail you out because you're about to sit. Like, they got real lawyers, not a public defender.
Really?
Like, they were like, Vince, you're done.
Yep.
And, you know, I wasn't afraid. I think my first time I was afraid because I read every charge. Obviously, like, I copped out. Took a plea, took the first degree burglary. I'm a 2-time convicted felon. But this one I knew they're going to hold everything against me.
Yeah.
They went and got a top-notch lawyer in Wilmington. I actually had a violation coming up. I was supposed to go to Maryland first court, but my grandfather was sick and was like literally passing away. And like my family was like, you're going to jail no matter what. Like, they actually supported, like, stay with your grandfather.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then, you know, I get booked and I get sentenced to all these programs, man. Like, boot camp diversion programs.
And we don't have that in Philly.
Yeah.
What's that?
All right. So it's called
like
Shock Court. No, it ain't drug court.
Shock Court.
Shot Corps is what 50 Cent went through.
Okay.
It's a boot camp diversion program for young adults.
Okay.
So like 18 to 24.
Mm-hmm.
That's your kind of gap of individuals who are participating in this program. And then there's a whole bunch of other programs after. I get to turn myself in fully hooked on methadone, Xanax, Oxycontin, like the whole night.
The whole plethora.
Oh, it's so bad. Like I pop a whole bunch of Xannies before I get there. My mom don't know.
She's about to. What's up, Mom?
Hey, Mom. Yeah, she probably thought I was doing. She knew.
Yeah,
she had to. She turns me in. I go down Georgetown SCI, Georgetown Prison in down by the beach in Delaware. I get down there. I turn myself in, and I'm starting to feel ill. Right, I'm Xannied up, but I ain't got Oxy. I walk back, and my first program I got to do is a 6 months of boot camp diversion program, which is I walk in, and they're like, "Hey, hit down and give me 20 push-ups, son." And I'm like, he said, "You're dope sick, ain't you?" I said, "Yeah, send them to the infirmary." D.I. Smith, that's his name. Anybody from Delaware who did the program, they know who I'm talking about. I go to the infirmary, and dude that night dies next to me in the infirmary, and I'm just like, bro. I remember sobering
fucked up now.
Reality's them sobering moments. We all have them.
Mm-hmm.
Typically, I run. I'm locked in a cell with it.
For me, man, that's when I start like really for the first time like started to pray. And they were foxhole prayers. Don't get me wrong, but I was like, I'll never do this again.
Yeah,
fuck.
I think I don't think I prayed. But I knew I started writing letters. I started writing letters to everybody because I felt like the shame, the guilt, the remorse, and like I haven't just hurt me, but everyone I love.
Yeah.
I got a nephew who looks up to me, like that's my guy. And he lost his dad, so like in the beginning of his life, that was my man. Yeah. I was his, idol. Like as much of a piece of crap that I was, like a little kid, like my little brother who's 16 years younger than me, they all looked up to me.
Yeah.
I just started writing. I had nothing but my thoughts.
Yeah.
And I'm either going to get them out or remain sick. And I started to get better, honestly, through writing. Go back over to the compound, do the boot camp diversion program. And I remember, like, they have phases. It's like red hat, yellow hat, green hat, right? So that's like the tier of the system. You get 2 months in red hat.
Green hat, you're on your
ready
way.
to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, like leeway, the whole nine. So like I'm in red hat phase and I'm marching, I'm doing push-ups. I hate it. I gotta iron my shirt. I gotta put creases in my pants. I gotta
so it was like the military.
Boots.
Yep.
1,000%. These are all guys who worked at like Dover Air Force Base would come down. I hated it. I remember I think they intentionally, I don't have a resentment, but I definitely think like they messed with you for character development. In that beginning phase, they gave me boots that were way too small, and my feet were hurting so bad. I kicked my boots off, put on my shoes that I used for PT.
Yeah,
I said, I'm done. I quit. And mind you, I have a shorter. I get out quicker.
You were still red hat there.
Yeah, I get out quicker. Like sentences and all the programs I have to do after.
If you just complete.
Yeah, I'm backing up 10. I'm like, yo, I'll go do 10 right now.
Yeah.
I know how to do that. I can, and how selfish it is. I can literally do what I want. I can make hookups. The boot camp diversion program, you're literally set with like, you get no books, no TV.
Damn.
You're
stuck with yourself.
The only thing you can read is the Bible and some recovery oriented book if you could find one.
Yeah. As we know now, right? Like that's for people like us.
That's gold.
Well, listen, dude. Well, even if you didn't have anything but the Bible in your head, right? Like, unless you're like fully in on Jesus Christ, right?
Yeah.
Like that's a dangerous place to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. We could do some weird shit. Like ask for, I'll do 10. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I literally said, I quit. Send me over to the compound. Yeah. This guy on the weekend, Lieutenant, forget his last name, Ryder Smith. He took me back to his office. He said, call your mom and tell her what you're doing. I sat. I didn't want to. I was like, my mom don't need to know. I'm a grown man.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a grown man who's reaching over some boots. I call my mom and like she's crying, like, son, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
And like, again, those sobering moments when I am sober and conscious enough, because that's important too. You can be sober, but if you're not conscious, I'm connected to it at this point, you know, and I'm like, all right. He's like, let's go get you some boots that fit. Because he didn't want me to quit. He wanted this, that the program is for guys to succeed.
Yeah.
You know, young men become men. I get boots and I stay. And I eventually fell in love with, like, I wanted to join the military and everything. I could drop down to like a healthy 170, running a mile every morning, PT with Marines. Like, loved it. Loved it. And I, like, honestly, there was the first time I ever admitted I was an addict or an alcoholic. I got a book. It was a chemically dependent anonymous book. Did I know what I was doing with the book? No. All I did was read the personal stories because that was hope for me. You know, that's like, I didn't have no instruction, just me and a book. You know, and I would read a personal story every day. And like, I wanted so much out of life, but by the time I come home, I'm living in Wilmington at the time. I'm on level 4 probation, which is like you have to live in the state. My family lives in Wilmington. My grandma lets me move into the basement. She locks the door. So I like there's nothing in the basement but a bed and a TV. I can't even go get coffee. I can't go get
She's having her grandma friends over, and she's like, grandson's in the basement. His name's Vince. He's not allowed out of there.
Yeah, the dog's downstairs. Yeah. Put the dog away, Katie. Yeah, dog's down there. And I look at like everybody's lives that I grew up with, and I was like, yo, I've missed so much. I'm like 24 at this point. I've missed so much. Like, people have families. People graduated college. People have cars. Bro, I didn't even have a license until I was 24. I don't even have a bank account.
Bank account. I always say, when I got sober, I didn't know how to make a phone payment.
I couldn't. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Life lessons are so, like, I think in treatment we could do better across the board. I've been in various treatment centers and worked in them too. Life lessons for a lot of people are, you know, that's needed. So
but although not received well.
No, I don't know why.
You know what I mean? So not from like the staff, right? But like from the patients.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you would have came to me and been like, this is how you make a phone payment, I'd been like, shut up, man. I'm a grown ass man.
Yeah, until you got to do
it. All they had to do would be like, where you live?
Yeah.
My mom's house.
I don't know, wherever you guys send me next.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not my mom's house. It's my grandmom's house. And I have a room there. So there's cigarette burns everywhere all over the mattress.
I'm doing all right, bud.
Yeah. Well, watch how you talk to me.
Grown man.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Nah, you're right, though, man. It's so egotistical. I think I know everything. But I come home and I'm like comparing myself to everyone and like, all right, I'm like, all right, I want to be successful. I want to stay sober. I don't get into AA or NA. I'm going to just stay sober and like be productive. And I go get all the things that I believe I'm supposed to have at that point in my life compared to other people. But I ain't like other people. I have the disease of addiction.
Yep.
And it exists inside of my head as opposed to in a substance. I go get the girlfriend, go get the job. You know, I get an apartment with this girl. I get a car and like empty. I'm like, why ain't I happy? I do that for probably like 10 months. And I'm just like, yeah, this isn't it. Now I know why I always did what I did because this isn't it. And not willing to accept there's another way. I know people were in recovery. You know, that wasn't my thing though. At that time, I just wasn't willing. I still thought, you know, again, I grew up with the conception of like, man up, do the hard work, and you can do it yourself.
So my thing was like, I just thought that this stuff was corny.
Yeah.
You know?
Relationship with God?
That sponsor?
Yeah.
Go to a meeting every day?
Another man tell you what to do?
You want me to get brutally honest with another guy?
First and foremost, I don't trust people.
No. I wasn't going to get brutally honest. First off, I wasn't going to get brutally honest with anybody.
Yeah.
Let alone another guy.
Yeah.
But then, you know, I don't know. I don't know why I was so distorted, right? Imagine, right? If we came in and they were like, hey, Vince, thank God you came here today, right? Whenever you checked into treatment, jail, whatever.
Yeah.
They're like, Vince, thank God you came in today. Because today we're offering recovered from whatever you're struggling from, right? Recovered from addiction.
Yeah.
All you need to do is stand in that corner, butt ass naked.
Would have did it.
And you would have been like, sign me up.
Yeah.
No, but we come in and we're like, hey, guess what? There was a book that was written however many years ago. And it's like, hey, if you follow this stuff, get a relationship with God, strengthen your relationship with God, keep a constant contact with God and help other people, you will be recovered.
Yeah.
And we're like, nah.
Nah, it's
I don't need that, it's corny.
Nah, that's not. That's for you guys, not for me.
Yeah.
1,000%. I want to do things my way. Not,
and I still do.
Yeah.
It goes back to like, what does the pain look like today? Right.
Still looks like me wanting to do things my way. Just, I have a program to, I always compare the program like 10, 11, and 12, kind of like a bowling. I'm bowling, but I'm handicapped and need them bumpers. Because I can move and the book tells us God gives us self-will. It is the proper use of the will, right? So I need bumpers, bro. And I've yet to meet someone who doesn't need bumpers. And if they say they don't need bumpers, you ain't like me. You might not even need to be here.
Well, there's the thing, right? The bumpers are like my sober support network, right? It's like, and maybe they're not even, maybe I don't even consider them my sober support. They're usually just my boys, right? That are just telling me like, yo, dude, you're being an absolute jerk off. Yeah. What are you doing? Right? Like giving it to me how I need to hear it. Yeah. Not sugarcoating it, not telling me like, hey man, it's all going to be okay if you keep living this way. Because that's, how many times has that killed people?
Yeah. And there's a level of like relation that I have with individuals. I have, like you said, like my boys, I trust, right? Whether I want to hear it or not, they're going to give me the best sound advice that I need to hear. Yep. And sometimes I already knew it.
Oh, we all 9 times out of 10, we already know.
I just don't want to hear it.
I just need to hear it. I just need to know that they know that I'm acting like this. Yeah. And then I'm like, okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah. I'll turn it back.
I need to throw up real fast and then make sure that direction is the right one. And if it's not, correct me. Yeah. 1,000%. Thank God for, like you said, good sponsorship. Sponsees, man. Helping other people. My sponsees keep me sharper than anyone. Dang, that one hit me a little hard. I got a sponsee. Just relapsed. Just had a little girl. Like, was doing the deal, dude. Doing the deal. Court date comes up. And just, anyway. Yeah, so like I throw all that stuff away. People talk about they lost it. I know what I was doing was wrong. Yeah. I had a conscience at that point saying that ain't right, but I got the disease too, and it ain't well connected with God to where I can override this a little bit. And everything's gone. I'm homeless, sleeping in a truck. I mean, literally bald tires, got to put air in it 4 times a day to make my runs.
I'm doing that currently. I swear to God.
It looks good, though.
It looks great. It looks great. And when my wife sees this, she's going to probably curse me out. But yeah, it's a very expensive mistake. But long story short, I got a nail in the back tire.
Okay.
And the tires that the nail's in are not even a month old.
Oh, that's rough.
So my ego and my pride is like, I'm not. Yeah. And they're saying I can't plug it. So I'm like, you know what? I'm not,
I'm just going to keep airing it up.
I'm going to ride this thing out.
And your car is going to tell you when you need air.
It lets me know.
I got it.
And I make the stop.
Yeah, I got this.
I clear it.
Yeah, I got a program that's going to tell me.
And that's how sick I am. Just handle it, because my alcoholism, like it spills into every aspect of my life.
Absolutely.
Which I feel like a lot of times you talked about treatment centers kind of needing like life skills a little bit more, right? I feel like treatment centers as a whole, maybe could do a little bit better of a job of kind of talking about alcoholism as like it's a sickness, right? It starts for me when I put it down. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Usually when I have it, I'm okay.
Yeah.
It's when I wake up
I'm
sober.
good.
When I wake up sober.
Good.
And then, like, now we got issues.
I watched the movie and nodded out. I was good to go that night.
Yep.
I had Starburst. I had a place to sleep. I'm A-okay. And you're 1,000% correct. Everyone addresses it from actively using as opposed to actively not. You know, that's your meat and potatoes, right? That's where the change is that needs to be made more so than, because if you correct that, that becomes an afterthought.
So I think if my math's mathing, you relapse for sure twice.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
I've relapsed over like 10, a couple times. So every time I relapsed sober.
Yeah.
Like, we don't talk about that enough.
Yeah.
Right? You
Absolutely.
want to talk about a conscious decision, which was not my story.
Yeah.
Sometimes it was, but more often than not, it was, I had an intention, I had a thought, a sober thought that I'm never living like this again.
Yeah.
Why in the world, whether it be, a year down the road, 10 months down the road, 30, 60, 90 days down the road, where I'm like, it wasn't that deep.
Yeah.
No, you've only been to treatment 8 times.
Right.
You
right.
know?
It was just a bad patch in my life. And listen,
Yep.
I'll say this. There are some people that are like that. I've seen it.
Sure.
I'm not one of them, though. I can take a look at the history.
I know my truth.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
The episode, as we're talking, it has not come out yet, but I had a guy on there that I really respect. Does a different fellowship, does NA.
Yeah.
But he talks about, like, if recovery must come first.
Yeah.
And there's no but after that.
Yeah.
Right. So if I can keep my recovery first, I'm never going to have
Yeah.
a thought like that. Right.
I remember I went back through the steps in like my second year. And I remember getting to a spot, I think 10, and I'm still a little crazy. Still a little crazy. I'm the guy who got sober who thought he could still rob banks or something. I'm sober now. Like, that's the solution to me executing that.
Listen, I think I brought up the other guy, his name's Tyler. So you're coming up on 10, right? Sooner rather than later, God willing.
Yeah.
When's your sober date?
October.
All right, so mine's November.
Uh-huh.
And I've been having these weird thoughts, right? Not like to the point where I want to drink or get high or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I didn't even put 2 and 2 together that, when I come up on 10, it's going to be, I've been sober longer than I've used, which is completely unfathomable. But now it's spun off to like 10 years.
Yeah. You got an X.
Maybe, and I don't get me wrong, I don't want to drink or drug, right? I know what my intentions
just
are.
a thought.
But I need people like you and like the guy Tyler and like my other sober supports that are like, dude, do you understand how, like, you're about to have 10 years sober?
Yeah.
And you're even trying to think about, like, maybe it'll be different.
Yeah, that's how crazy you are, Chris.
It won't be different.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. But what I was saying is, like, I got to the spot and, like, I didn't want to use or anything. I just didn't want to be crazy anymore, honestly. And he's like, when's the last time you thought about it? You act like obsessing about a drug or a drink. I said, I couldn't even remember. Now, mind you, I'm crazy. But I didn't have that level of insanity involved with the other crazy.
Right.
And like, that's honestly all I ever wanted.
Yeah.
So I come home, I throw all that stuff away. I'm homeless. I'm shooting heroin now. I'm smoking crack, doing meth with, motorcycle clubs and, whatever. Right. Like, if I didn't have a means or ways to use that day, I was run up in CVS and stealing NyQuil, triple C's, and like I had to pass out.
You had to get well.
I don't know if that was well.
Yeah.
I just needed to sleep.
You had to get put down.
Yeah. I got to be put down some way, somehow. And then I overdosed in off Route 40 in Elkton, and slept on a laundromat that night. And that morning, again, these sobering thoughts, whether you're actively using or not, sobering thoughts exist in all people. It is like God speaking directly to you. Maybe not a voice, maybe a feeling. It may be various. It varies, right? And I was like, yo, I can't do this anymore. And I wanted to commit suicide. It's and listen, I also understand that thought because it seems like a viable means to an end in which you haven't been able to solve. And then I was like, what about that recovery shit? You know, I've heard it all. You know,
the seed was planted, whether you know it or not.
It was there. You know, especially honestly when I was in prison. That's where it was. You know, I've been to treatment, but it was planted the best because like I needed that level of awareness and like no distractions. That's what I need. A lot of the times. Not everybody needs that. I get that. I'm just so daggone crazy. I need to be locked away. And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna call my buddy who listen, I called my buddy, I'm going to get well, and his brother's in NA in Baltimore. And I'm talking to him, and I'm like, bro, I'm going to rehab. He's like, yo, talk to, he's 12-stepping me. He's actively using, like, my man's hands went numb because he, like, missed. Like, this is the guys I'm with, and he's 12-stepping me. Love you, CJ. And he's like, call my brother. He gives me, I don't have insurance. I got missing teeth. Like all those comparisons that I had previously, I'm the comparison now.
You're that guy now.
I'm that guy. All those nevers, you know, I'll do this, but I won't do. I went from oxy to shooting heroin and not caring about the needle that I was using. Call him. He's like, yo, do this, do this, do this. I went to the health department. They're like, yo, you got to wait a week and a half for a bed. And thank God that, like, you know, some establishments are like 24/7 admissions because that's so critical because my willingness was there. I leave there with a piece of hope still. It's just, it built on enough to where like, okay, what's next to do to get me in the safest place to get me there? I call my grandmother. She's, you know, she's literally 4'9". You know, 4'9", Italian grandma. And I'm like, yo, can I stay with you? She has like 17 grandkids, has never let any of them stay with her.
Really?
Yeah. My grandfather had passed away, like I told you previously, and she's like, come here. I go there. I kick heroin. I don't kick anything else but that. I don't know why I just went through that. Probably because I'm like taking Xanax, Adderall, and any, you know, smoking weed and like
anything you can get your hands on.
Again, but like I'm not dying from the thing that just tried to kill me. Week and a half comes up. My grandma washed all these hideous clothes, like again, burn holes, blood. Like they were in the back of a truck. Like rained on, wrapped in my little cousin's bed sheet that like she let me crash there. I stole the bed sheet. Wrapped up, washed it all up. Somehow got a list of what I can exactly bring to treatment. It's like 5 pairs of this, 5 pairs of this, 5 pairs of this, and that's it. No one follows that today.
It's a whole other story.
I know. So I you know, I don't have a car. I mean, I do, but like that thing ain't getting there. My mom picks me up to take me to the treatment center, which is a good hour and a half away. And I'd been there previously. They were like, yo, you can go here, here, here. I just said that because out of familiarity, I'll go there. And there ain't many options when you don't have insurance or even if you have Medicaid. So I go there, I get there, I get out, put my clothes on this cart, meet the security guard, and I look at my mom and I'm like, yo, I'm gonna do it this time. She looked at me and like just still like wants to believe the best for her son, but the record shows you're 27 years old, right? This is October. My birthday's in September. I just turned 27. You ain't never amounted to anything. You're a liar. You're a cheater. You're manipulating. You're selfish and egotistical. And she said to me, I'll believe it when I see it. And my thought in that moment was like, bitch, don't you see? I'm trying to walk. I'm walking in to do the right thing. But she's right.
I remember in high school, even a few years after high school, remember when people would say, like, Vince, you have so much potential.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't until somebody told me that it really resonated. that was not a compliment.
Yeah.
It was like, hey, up until this point, you haven't done shit.
Yeah, that's a shot. Actually.
Yeah, I was like, I know, thank you.
Yeah.
Coming out of treatment for the 6th time.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate you thinking so highly of me. It's like, no, up until that point, I haven't amounted to not a goddamn thing.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until it was put to me that way that I really started to have like somewhat of like a shift, right?
Yeah.
Where it was like, what am I going to do? Is this going to be my life?
Right.
Am I just going to continue doing this?
Yeah.
At this point, back at a recovery house for the 2nd time.
Yeah.
Living at the top bunk, right, in the intake room with 6 other guys,
Yep.
right? And that was my life at 23. Yeah. I didn't know what I was going to do.
Yeah.
So go ahead. So you went back. You were walking.
Yeah, I walk in and I didn't say anything. I accepted it. You know them sobering truths that just make you swallow hard because that's your pride's in the way. I accepted, despite what my mind was saying, which I think that's so, like how you know if someone's accepting someone, despite what your mind is saying, are you accepting? And that, like, it's there. Because my mind, naturally, its default is to fight. Fight or flight. That's my response. I walked back, man. I honestly, I was just beat. Big Book talks about it. I was beaten to a state of reasonableness, and I moved up front taking notes.
Yep.
Like low-key teacher's pet. Like, it felt good. Right? Because he's looking at a group of people who don't want to do it, and I'm like, yo, my life's on the line. That night, within a week, I went to the meeting at night, and I knew a guy who had tried to help me previously. His name was Shiloh. Grew up in Elkton, ran just like me, like very similar stories. He's in there, 10 years talking about God. Like, got sober when he was 22.
Yep.
And I couldn't fathom it. And he was like the first person, I believe, was 100% sober. Because I could, you can tell. You can look at someone.
Well, I think also knowing this guy plays a huge part, right?
Yeah.
I had a very similar story. Once I got sent to Bucks County, I saw this guy walking his dog, and I'm like, quiet? He's like, yeah, my name's Alex.
Doesn't even go by that.
Doesn't go by quiet anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was like, where do you think they sent me? Turns out he went through AA, right? And got sober. And I was like, fuck, man, if you can do it, I can do this.
Yeah, it's hope.
Because he had the 80s back in the day, and I was like, you ran like me, dude. I get it.
Yeah. It's tangible evidence that this thing works. And I've sat in front of clinicians, therapists, but if you ain't did or used like me and are not now, I can't listen to you. And that's not a knock on them. That's just the reality of my stubbornness.
That's just how we are.
Yeah.
It's very hard to get through to us. Yep.
Everything they're saying is genuine and real, but I have this blockade built up whether I realize it or not.
And all it takes is Shiloh just being there. You didn't even have to hear him speak yet.
Nah.
Right? And next thing you're like,
this dude's still clean.
It looks like Shiloh. I don't know if that's it. And you start speaking, you're like, fuck, dude.
Yeah.
What'd you do? I'll do whatever you did. And he's like, I went to AA.
That's exactly
God.
What he said.
And you're like, but
I was all in.
Sign me up at this point.
Yo, listen, I say this a lot, but if you would have told me the devil would have taken the obsession away, I would have went there. That's not me saying I believe that or anything like that.
Yeah.
That's me saying how much pain I was in and just wanting it to not be there.
Yeah.
That night I went back and made a prayer. I just sat on a terrible treatment center bed. And I just opened up to God for the first time, fully, without reserve, right? Without anything in the way, and just a genuine, God, please help me.
I don't know, but just show me.
Yeah, absolutely. And it wasn't a thought, but it was a feeling I got hit with that was you never have to go through this again a day in your life. You just trust and follow. and I was putting all my eggs in that basket.
Well, you didn't have any other baskets to put them in.
You sure didn't.
Right? Turns out the last thing that I tried was the first thing that worked.
It's probably like realistically like evidence shows it works.
Oh, it absolutely does work.
Yeah.
We won't get into all that.
Yeah, we can go. Well, that's a rabbit hole and a half.
I mean, because I can get real cynical. I can get real opinionated, right? But like if we were doing this the way that it was written,
Yeah.
it works.
Yeah.
It
1,000% works. And I made it a decision to like, first, I grew up Catholic. So like, still to this day, I pray over every meal that I have, even if that meal's McDonald's on the go. I am going to go ahead and give thanks, right? I just started working on a relationship with God. I knew that was it because I had that experience with seeing a guy and then experiencing this love and grace that didn't come from me. I hate myself.
I mean, it's not a bad habit to be in,
No,
right? I mean, it's
not one
somewhere,
bit.
it's somewhere where I can absolutely improve on.
Yeah.
Right. Because mine is twice for sure every time, right? Morning and at night. Morning is not when I first wake up, right? Because my default setting is absolutely selfish. It's always like, where's my vape?
Yeah, where's my
phone? What I miss?
Missed calls. Yeah.
Checking emails, checking sets, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
So I start my day in the shower.
Yeah.
Right. I have a skylight in like right above our standing shower, and it's immediately like, God, relieve me of this crazy head, because I know it's coming at some point.
Oh, that's for sure.
Allow me to be useful to at least somebody today.
Yeah.
And then at night, it's even if it's a simple thank you.
Yeah.
Right. It's something I can definitely improve on, though.
Yeah. I'm definitely with you. I
Now,
start
do you
off
hit
the
your
same
knees
way.
as well, or no?
No.
Okay.
No. I think I used to. Halfway house days, like my life today. I make my bed. I take care of my bowels. And that's honestly where I...
For the viewers at home that don't know what bowels are, he's talking about taking a shit, morning shit.
Yeah. That's where I got my book right there, right? Like a few literature pieces, right? Maybe I'll get something sent on my phone, right? My buddies, we all have a group text, right? They'll send some literature in there, and I'll read and I'll pray, and like I'll take a second, like I'm on my toilet, but like, God meets me where I am, no matter what.
Listen, you asked about the pain, and what does that look like, right? For me today, right? Like you're talking about centering your day while you're taking your morning bowel movement.
Yeah.
For me, when I strayed far enough away from this path, there was a time, right, not too long ago.
A lot of people go through it.
Where I was just gambling. Gambling. You know what I mean? And that's where I go, right? Because I seek relief, right? As soon as I stop doing this stuff, I'm going to start grabbing for whatever's going to work.
Yeah.
Took me 8 years to find the online casino, but I found it, and it worked until it didn't.
Yeah.
And then I get like beaten into enough pain where I'm willing to like get back into this stuff.
Yeah. I didn't have that. I had that early on, back when there were still bookies. I was like 16 with a bookie.
Yeah. See, I never got into it.
I ran with all older guys, and they were doing that.
I
they
wish
would give me
I
their
did.
ID.
I wish I did, dude.
No,
I
you
started
don't.
burning my life to the ground with like grown up money.
Yeah, that's rough.
You know, I have a family that needs me.
I'm chasing my high,
and I laugh about it now. And we can in recovery because we get the struggles that we go through. But for anybody that's watching that's not in recovery, their thought might be like, "How could he do that?"
Yeah,
I'll tell you how I could do it. If I get enough pain, I start doing weird stuff.
Yeah.
And the pain doesn't look like pain.
No,
it just looks like me running my life how I think it should be ran, and then I just start straying from the path.
It turns into gratification wherever I can find that release. Like there's a high that comes with it, right? Like there's a high in literally, there's a high in porn, there's a high in this, there's a high in the gym. That's more healthy, obviously. But I know some guys that probably should take care of their kids before going to the gym.
Yeah.
Right? Like there's a balance between like bad selfish, good selfish.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm 1,000% with you. I've been through them all, man. You know, I eat. Mine is like I told you, bro. I'll grab 2 of them Reese's dipped.
The animal crackers.
Don't do it. I'm gonna do it tonight.
I'm telling you, they don't have them around here. I'm gonna that's like my short-term goal right now is to find them. It's in the cookie
aisle at Wawa. I shouldn't have told you that. See, it's not in your average.
All right.
It's a shift.
Okay.
Don't do it, but do it.
But it scratches that itch.
Oh man, things are hitting. Not everybody likes them. I love them.
I mean, listen. So, what's the purpose now?
The purpose now is, I sound cliche saying help other people who are coming from that, and it is still that purpose, but like I have built onto that purpose. It is to be the best man, the best father that I can be. It is to continue to keep growing in all my affairs. It is to be smarter in where I need to be smarter. It is to be more loving in where I need to be more loving. It is to be more trusting in where I need to be more trusting. It is full encompassing, like, God, shine your light through and show me where I need to be intentional and have a purpose about. The youth, I talk about that a lot, but just being a good influence to the youth, like that's, I'm not saying I can have the power to change anyone, but if I could just be a vessel, a seed planted to a kid when he's, 13, and maybe he goes on, because I'm very grateful. All the parents know Vince was a stone cold addict. I'm very open. That was never my thing.
That's the thing. You don't know. I'm going to sound like a broken record multiple times over these episodes, but the ripple effect is real.
Oh, absolutely.
So when these parents talk about you in that light, and they're not talking badly about you, they're probably talking more in the sense of like, how in the world did this guy change his life around? And speaking well about you, you have no clue how far that really goes. And that's why we're so transparent about it. Because somebody did it for you.
Yeah, absolutely. You were right, man. Guys were brutally honest with me. So I, in turn, try to be brutally honest. And honestly, I think that's the only way I can do this thing is to be honest. I know people who are like, protect their anonymity, and I respect the hell out of it. But if I'm not an open book and I can hide things, that invites more aspects of me hiding. And that's not really good for me.
Right. I also think, so if we go back 10 years, right, it was definitely, and when you think about AA, NA, CA, right, and the anonymous part, right, and obviously there's traditions in it, and I've talked on previous episodes that I'm not really the best or most knowledgeable on traditions, but we live in a different time.
Would agree.
Where we don't, we don't have the luxury of really staying silent. Because we're literally losing people at a rapid rate.
Well, you look at the stigma. Is there still a stigma today? But it was 1,000 times worse back then. That's for sure. And listen, I love the traditions. I believe in them, especially when it comes to the program. But me talking about recovery isn't just program, right? I can tell you where I learned. It was there.
Yep.
But me being open is just, that's it.
Yeah.
Just me being open, experience, strength, and hope, and always find an opportunity to be of service. And we live in a time and a day where we're doing it via here, right? That's touching. It's not 1939 and there's 3 AA groups in existence, and I'm about to go in front of a judge, and my last hope is this big book called Alcoholics Anonymous that Wall Street just publicated, and I'm clinging on to this thing please.
Yeah.
It's 2024. We're able to help a lot more people. And that's that. If anything, I think our founders would respect and appreciate that. And especially with the state of things going on. People are stopping.
So we were down in Kensington, I want to say 2-3 weeks ago. We were just giving out sandwiches, whatever. And I don't say that in a sense of look at us or anything like that.
No, it's just what you were doing.
I really didn't know. I had no clue how bad it really is.
Yeah.
I had a very brief stint down there.
Yeah.
I never got super sucked in down there. Thank God. I went through what I went through. But really what's going on is like, you can smell the flesh of what's going on, right? Like the people are dying, right? Yeah. People might not agree with this statement, but this is just my own personal thing because I've said it in the past about my thing is like, I just drag my loved ones with me. Yeah. I don't have the luxury of dying. If they're lucky, they're dying. Yeah. Right. But like people are losing limbs. They have open wounds. So I'm teetering this line. I say that to say with this whole Pain with a Purpose podcast, my internal conflict is, how much do I really give right on here, right? How much do I really say? How much do I really extend my hand, right, with this platform? Or do I just keep it as like a hope shot, right? Because that's my internal conflict.
Yeah. What does God say?
I'm fired up about it, right? So I also know that when I don't know, I do nothing. Yeah. But like this fire about this is not going anywhere. Yeah. So I'm going to continue to do it. You should. But I'm also going to go with the vibe. Right. So like here, I know what you're about, right? And I think you have a good idea about what I'm about. Yeah. But like that statement that I just said is not going to be said all the time. Right. But like help is available at any given time. Absolutely. But that's my internal conflict, right? Yeah. I don't want to say like, hey, if you need help, I'm here to help. But also I wish someone would have said it to me. Right. Because no one said that to me. Mm-mm. Also, when they did say it to me, it wasn't Shiloh. Yeah. It was just some random person. That I didn't know. And I didn't know their story. Yeah. I didn't know any of that stuff. Yeah. And it was a lot of, I'm sure you would help. Okay. But how do I get a hold of you? Well, not even, but it's like, you didn't live the life I lived. Yeah. Or if I was still in any given part of my story where I was like, I'm not as bad as you, dude. Yeah. I don't need your help. Right. I just got to stop putting this stuff in my body. I had no idea what I was really up against. Yeah. So I do really appreciate you like being super transparent on the show. And talking about everything, right? But talking about like your stints in jail, going to, what was it called again? Oh, well, it was jail, but it's Shot Corps Boot Camp program. Shot Corps Boot Camp. Yeah. But that's like, these are the stories that we need to hear. Yeah. Someone's going through it right now. Yeah. And like, look at us on the other end on a Tuesday night. Mm-hmm. We can laugh about it. Mm-hmm. I remember a time in my life, there wasn't no laughing about being an addict. Like, I'd fight you over calling me a junkie. Mm-hmm. Like, I know I am, but I will fight you over it. Yep. And the level of release and care and freedom from all that stuff, if you're in that spot and you're listening to this and you can hear the freedom, it's not that we don't take this thing serious. We're just free of it. Mm-hmm. This whole thing started with you. Yeah. Wanting to help people. Yeah. Which is, again, another wild thought because I never thought that I would ever be free of this. Nah. I heard about people, or I saw people staying clean and sober. I saw people like staying in recovery. And my thought of that was that they're just holding on for dear life and they're just not putting it in their body. To the chair. What a wild thought that my truth is that I haven't thought about drinking or drugging in a long time. And I know that I said like coming up on 10, right? Yeah. Contradiction there, but not really. I haven't thought about it. Yeah. I haven't obsessed or fought. Yeah. Myself going to put it in my body. Yeah. I got married sober with an open bar, right? That's crazy. I remember being in treatment. They were like, you can't be around it. And I was, my family won't come to the wedding. They also said the problem will be removed. Yeah. Yeah. The drinking, the drug problem. Yeah. The alcoholism starts, right? And like that, so again, we'll do that again for part 2 when he comes back. Yeah. But yeah, so I really appreciate you coming out. Always, man. Anything you need. And I'm sure we'll have you on again. Or we're going to put it out here right now. So now you have to do it. Oh, don't do that. Oh, we're doing it. All right, do it. Vince is having his own thoughts about starting this little podcast, right? You were the inspiration. I appreciate it. I lie to you not. You were the inspiration. I just think that we can all do more. Yeah. And, I'm a podcast guy. I drive 2 hours a day. So yeah, I'm I listen to music in like the gym. I'm a podcast guy. I like things that I'm interested in. I listen to a lot of recovery podcasts. I listen to Just Guy podcasts, right? Like I'm also just a guy. Like not my whole life centers around just talking.
I love sports. Go Ravens. Go O's. Basketball. Baltimore. Ain't got a team.
Exciting time for the Orioles right now.
Oh man, we've had. You see, I had to come out here with my O's hat on.
I didn't say it.
Style.
I was hoping that nobody back home saw the Orioles hat. You know,
I know you usually have your Phillies jersey
but
on.
you also know that I can edit this, and that might be a Phillies hat.
Some people would love that, especially up here.
That would be good.
Yeah.
But yeah, appreciate it again.
Likewise.
We'll have you on again at some point, or I'll be on yours in the coming weeks, months, whatever it is.
Absolutely. You're my first guest.
I appreciate it, man. And for all you guys who are watching, tuned in, whatever the case may be, Instagram, Pain W Purpose, Instagram, Pain with a Purpose podcast, and Apple and Spotify, I can't even talk. That's how tired I am. Pain with a Purpose podcast. So we will see you guys in the coming week or so, and be on the lookout for the next guest. Appreciate it.